My review of the Megadeth album, Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good. It was released in 1985 and produced by Dave Mustaine and Cara Faye. So Megadeth is kind of interesting for me because they're really like one of the heavier bands I listen to along with Metallica. Really, I would say Megadeth and Metallica are probably about as heavy as my collection gets. I mean, you could probably throw some of the Sabbath stuff in there. Um, but I'm not really like a metal person exactly. I'm not really somebody that's like needs my music to be heavy. I don't just like enjoy stuff because it's heavy. Usually when people get into like the screaming vocals and stuff, that's like a little too much for me. Especially like a lot of the modern metal where it's like just really fast and just like kind of going. I just can't like really get that into it. But Megadeth was the first band that I saw. It was in 2007, the United Abominations tour. I saw them in Columbus at the Newport. And it was a great show. I couldn't really hear like the vocals. We were kind of like sitting up in the back. It's on YouTube actually, the concert I went to, because they were like webcasting it. There was this weird little like camera off to the side that you could see kind of like going in and out. So yeah, I can still kind of go back and watch my first concert, which is pretty cool. And this is an album that I didn't get right away. Like I kind of built up like my Megadeth collection pretty slowly, and it was not really until pretty recently that I had all of their stuff. This album, I can't really remember when I got it because it was within the last like 5 or 6 years, and I don't know. I feel like once you hit like a certain age, all the years just kind of blend together. Somebody was telling me something happened like 5 years ago last night, and I was like, really? It seems like it was just yesterday. But anyway, my first Megadeth album was this Greatest Hits, and it's kind of beat up now. I think I had it in my car. It really only has mechanics off the first album, but that was what I got into them with, that Greatest Hits, and then I started getting some of the studio stuff. This album, when I first got it, I don't know, it wasn't, I kind of read about it, read how the production wasn't that great, and it doesn't seem to be a lot of people's favorite Megadeth albums. And that was kind of my reaction to it on listening to it the first time. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's bad, but it's definitely not anywhere near my favorite. I think on listening to it today and kind of like I pulled out the booklet and was looking at the lyrics and was looking at who played what solo and stuff, which I hadn't really done before. And I think that my appreciation for this album has gone up a little bit. It's still not my favorite, but I definitely have more of an appreciation for it now than what I did going into this. So the lineup for this album, you have the two Daves, who are the most consistent members. Dave Mustaine on guitar and Dave Ellefson on bass. Then you have Chris Poland on guitar and Gar Samuelson on drums. I feel like at this point Gar's kind of my favorite Megadeth drummer, and his playing on this album I think is really crazy. Just really big fan of his work on here. I don't think that I don't know if this version of this album has been like I'm sure it's been like kind of remixed and remastered and stuff, because I know this isn't the original cover or a re-release of it. But to me, it doesn't sound as bad as what I've heard, so I don't know if the original version sounds like significantly worse. I do think that it's a little hard to tell what Dave's saying. Like as I was going through and like reading the lyrics, like I could make out what he was saying if I was reading the lyrics, but I think like every other time I've listened to this album, I've had no clue what he was saying half the time. That said, I don't think the vocals sound bad. I think he gives good performances here. I do think that like if some people getting into Megadeth, I think Dave's voice might be like kind of the big sticking point for them, because he's got kind of a weird voice, and it can be kind of like goofy at times, but I really enjoy it, and I like what he does a lot. So the album opens with Last Rites / Love to Death. It's got kind of this weird like classical sounding intro to it, which I assume must be the Last Rites part. That kind of really threw me the first time I heard this album. I was not expecting that, but I like it. I think it's a strong opener. I think Dave has a good vocal on it. The drums are really cool. I like the solos a lot from Dave, so first song is good. Second track is Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, the title track. Another song that I think is pretty cool, another one where the drums are really great, the bass is really cool in this one. I like the main like riff of the song a lot, and it has a cool Chris Poland guitar solo. Um, and this song also kind of like made, as I was listening to this and like writing down notes about it, I kind of realized that like a lot of the structures on this song kind of strike me as a little bit unusual. They're not like your typical like verse chorus type of thing. They're like a lot of verses, and then like on this one they kind of like go into the title. They kind of like chant "Killing is my business and business is good" like towards the end. Well, not really like chant, but they just kind of like sing it over and over again. So kind of a different structure for some of these songs, which I found pretty interesting. The third track, "Skull Beneath the Skin," has a really cool intro on it. I think Dave's solos are really cool, and the lyrics are kind of like these weird, like occulty lyrics, and I think that his solos just really kind of capture that feel in a way, like they're kind of just eerie sounding. Really cool drums on it again, and another one with just kind of an interesting structure. The fourth track is "Rattlehead," another really cool riff, more great drums, cool guitar solos. Probably my favorite solo on it was the one at the end by Dave. The fifth track, "Chosen Ones," I guess was lyrically influenced by Monty Python and like the Killer Rabbit thing, which I thought was really cool, kind of funny. But this one I really like the bass a lot, and drums are once again great. The guitar on it's really cool. So this track kind of stood out for me. I really liked that one. The sixth track, "Looking Down the Cross." One of the longer songs on the album and one of the slower ones. Like this album's really fast, like most of it, and this song was a little bit slower than that, so it kind of gives you a different feel. Yeah, this one I like. I think it had a really cool solo, especially the first one. The seventh track, "Mechanics," one of Dave's Metallica songs, which is done by them as Four Horsemen, and I like both versions quite a bit. Instrumentally, I like this version a lot. Lyrically, I think their versions probably has the better lyrics. These ones are kind of funny. But I like this song a lot. Probably my favorite track on the album. It was the only one I was familiar with going into this album because it was on the greatest hits. But yeah, it's a great instrumental stuff through it. Really cool track. And then on this album, at least, I think that this song was in a different position on the original album. But there's "These Boots" is the eighth and final track. And I guess they did this as kind of a joke, but it's easily the worst song on the album. Like, just not a good song to begin with. And then, like, I don't know if, I think it's because, like, the writer of the song had a problem with some of the stuff that Dave, like, added to it, but there's all these bleeps through it, so, like, half the song is just really obnoxiously bleeped out. And, like, instrumentally what they're doing is really cool. There's a lot of cool drums and stuff on it, but just with all the bleeping, like if it didn't have the bleeping, it would probably be kind of passable, but the bleeping just like butchers it. So "These Boots" is really, to me, the only track on this album that's like a huge misstep. So "Killing Is My Business and Business Is All" overall, not my favorite Megadeth album. Yeah, the production's not the best of their albums. I think it's a little muddy. Vocals are a little hard to make out. But I do think it's a pretty strong debut album. I think it's better than what people give it credit for typically. I think really "These Boots" is the only bad song on it. Everything else I think is pretty good. So I do recommend this one. I don't know if I would start here with Megadeth because of the production stuff, but definitely a lot better album than what people give it credit for.